It's a beautiful day, although it's rainy and overcast, which isn't bad at all. It's a nice way to start going into fall and summer. You know, it's a natural transition. And when we pay attention to these natural transitions with the earth, with the seasons, then we go with the flow much better. We're not resisting the natural movement of energies. And it's this resisting of the movement of that breath, of that life, it's resisting it that starts to make us sick. And that's actually what today's topic is all about. I'm Rita Hickman. I'm body-mind expert, shiatsu massage therapist, and I help women get their head back on straight from toxic and narcissistic relationships so that they can feel like the whole people that they are, like the people that they always wanted to be, so that they can really start to make the most of the life that they have instead of continuing in this cycle and pattern over and over with relationships and people that just keep that keep making us sicker, let's say. So today's topic is about how a narcissist attack makes you sick. So, you know, we've been subject to narcissist attacks for a very long time. And in fact, people who were raised early on that their opinion mattered, that they were valuable, that when they said no, it mattered, even as very young children, you know, to not want to be held by a certain person or not want to be around certain people or left in certain situations. When our ability to protect ourselves is forcibly taken away from us, it creates problems. So if we were raised in an environment where we were respected and loved and what we needed and wanted was heard and listened to, maybe not 100% of the time, but enough that we knew that we would be safe, that it's okay, then we probably wouldn't be in these narcissistic relationships that we have now, because many times we seek these things out in order to heal ourselves, but we're trying to heal ourselves without enough information. So what happens when we have a narcissist attack and we aren't allowed to go through the full process? So trauma is when something happens that's unexpected, you have no control over, and you don't have a chance to process it through. So when we're attacked by someone unexpectedly, verbally, emotionally, it's unexpected. And because of our experience as a kid, that we don't have the right to protect ourselves, that we don't have the right to say no, that even if we say no, it will be ignored, that our voice doesn't matter, that what we want doesn't matter. If we learned this at an early age, or even learned it early on in this relationship, because possibly we were in our young 20s, or our brain hadn't finished developing yet. So we still have the ability to be traumatized by all that stuff. And so when we're attacked, we not only feel the anger and the hurt and the insecurity and the manipulation of the person, of the narcissist who's attacking us, but we also get the long-term effects because we had to take that emotion and we had to put it somewhere in our body. And we had to lodge it somewhere. Typically, places like our diaphragm, places like our liver, places like our head and neck, places like our lower back, our intestinal system, our heart, our lymph system. We will hold it in areas where that tension and that emotion, the chemicals of the emotion and the tension from the emotion, until we give ourselves permission to either experience it, to release it in some way, or to process it through. Because those are the two ways. Not everything needs to be expressed. Not every time that you get angry needs to turn into a rage fest, which is, I know, what most of us want to avoid. What can happen instead is that we can process the information through, like a digestion. We can get good at allowing ourselves to express and process through the information and let it go. We can get good at revisiting things and looking at them from a different perspective, not from the perspective of the woundedness, but from a perspective of wisdom and understanding and compassion. Which is, if you had gotten that when you were younger, you wouldn't be in this mess now. If you had been able to have a bad experience and been able to process it through and have someone help you process it through, then you wouldn't be reacting the way that you're reacting. You wouldn't be sick the way that you're sick. So every time, especially even if it was from the very beginning of your life, that you felt that when you were hurt or angry or upset or needed to say no or needed to protect yourself, that you weren't allowed. That sets up a lifetime of feeling that we have to take all those experiences that we have and we have to keep them secrets inside of ourselves, inside of our bodies, lodged somewhere, and we can't ever let anybody know. The problem is after a while, it starts to fester. It starts to create cellular waste in the area that doesn't move. It starts to affect and manipulate the tissues that are around it, similar to a metamorphic rock. A metamorphic rock is a rock that is a normal rock that's been under heat and pressure, and it changes it. And this is the same thing that happens. When you have wounds and when you have attacks, which you were never able to express or process through, then what happens is it changes the tissue around it. It changes what's going on around it on a physical level, not only on a mental, spiritual, energetic level, which is wonderful, but on a physical level. Your body changes, and it turns into all sorts of different diseases, depending upon where your body stored it and how your body is storing it. So a narcissist attack makes you sick not just when it happens. It makes you sick for a long time. It keeps you sick until you're able to release or process it through. So you're carrying sicknesses. You're carrying these, this anger, this unexpressed hurt. You're carrying it inside of you, and that's what makes you sick. And you can carry it for decades. So it's not just the original attack that causes the problem. It's the fact that you never got the experience and felt safe enough and believed and knew and trusted that your voice mattered, that you had someone who would remember that your voice mattered. And you know who that is now? You. You are the person who is now the adult that makes sure that your voice matters, that it's taken care of, that it's processed through, that it's expressed, that it's given compassion and love and understanding, that it's given wisdom, that it's given support and validation. You're the person who now needs to take the place of all the people that should have taught you during those original attacks how to handle it, how to feel it, and not let it affect you for forever. So many of us are carrying around stresses on our body that are caused from unexpressed attacks, unexpressed feelings of hatred and betrayal and anger and rage and fear and terror. Because if you think about it, that's how big those things felt to us when we were little. And it was true. We weren't safe, we were small, we were dependent. So the emotions were huge. And if we didn't process through or express those emotions, they're still hanging out. They're still creating issues and problems and making us sick. And even if we don't think we're sick now, give it a little time. It'll build up until you're like, wow, I really am sick. I really do have a problem I need to look at. And even though all physical problems are not caused by stress, they're made worse by stress. They're made worse by those suppressed emotions. And by releasing those and processing through them, it gives your body the chance to heal itself. It gives your body the chance to move through and push through that stress and process through and express it and release it in order to feel better, in order to get your system back on track, okay? So if you're feeling stuck, you have a couple options. One, I do a small group coaching program, which I'm going to be relaunching within the next 4 weeks or so, because we're making a transition. And so I'm going to be asking women what they want for in the group, what it should look like, what works for them. So if you've got a comment on that, leave it below, on what sort of small women's coaching group on narcissism, what sort of details you'd like to see, so that it's set up just perfectly for your schedule and for your availability and for what you want to know. The other way people can work with me is one-on-one, so message me. I'll send you an application or a link to the application, and you'll be able to fill it out, and we'll look to see if we're a good fit. And if we're a good fit, I can help you through this journey. It's no problem, because you don't have to do this alone. There's a lot that needs to be done and put into place, but it's not impossible, especially when you get the support that you need, especially when you get the community and the friends and the information and the wisdom and the safe space. When you get the things that you have always needed, friends and family and wise advice, when you get those things, that's how you evolve. That's how you get the experiences and the maturity that you need in those areas so that you can heal yourself. That's the trick behind healing ourselves. It's about getting everything flowing smoothly and getting the things out of the way that keep us from being healthy. And that's one of the biggest things, is making sure that we work through and move through those things that keep us stuck. Okay? So, I'm looking forward to hearing from you. I'm looking forward to seeing you tomorrow. And I hope you have a great day. Talk to you later.